Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah.
Yo, what's up? You sound healthier.
I've re-entered life as we know it. I'm a human being again.
Welcome.
Very excited.
Back.
Thanks, dude. We're live. How you doing, dude?
Doing great. How you doing?
Like I was just saying, healthy, fit as a fiddle, flying out to Toledo in a couple hours. So stoked for making the pilgrimage out to the Toledo Museum of Art for this weekend's festivities. So
shit, man. Crypto related stuff or just for fun?
Yeah, they have a new exhibition, I think, opening for Sam Spratt. And then hopefully I'll be able to catch the previous generative art focused exhibition that they had put on and opened up a few months ago. So excited for that. Got a little +1 invite. So had to oblige. Actually, send connections throwback. SF Havo, who then became Ikaitza, also known as just Havo. He's like one of those 3 finalists that got one of those 3 final masks from Sam Spratt's Masquerade released earlier this year. Yeah, so he's making it out, and I've never met him in real life. Like I literally worked alongside him at Nifty for like 3+ years. Sent throwback. Yeah, just been in almost weekly contact.
One of these, yeah.
he's like you, except I've never met him, basically,
right?
Which is crazy.
Right.
So that's coming to an end. We're gonna rectify that in a day or so. So excited for that.
Good shit. Yeah, good shit, dude. Yeah, man. I don't know. I am not doing any traveling. I actually did a whole bunch of it early this year, and Lisbon was the last thing on my radar for a little while now. I'm not sure if I got anything specifically coming up. So ready to hunker down for I don't know, hopefully a fucking good winter market wise and everything. Those are always fun, and we haven't had that in a while. I like it when the holidays come around and crypto's booming, and everyone who thought I was a weirdo for such a long time is oh yeah, now you're a genius. We're in one of those, so I like that. Dude, I would love to. I'd love to talk about WIP Coin, man. I was cryptically teasing it and sort of fucking with you and Dragonate last time we were recording, and then it went out there. And it's just sort of out there, low key, and I don't think a lot of people know about it, and that's fine and everything. But I don't know, man. I'm interested to hear your take on the relaunch reboot of it, and this like everything else, man, and all the shit and everything we're doing is sort of a rolling experiment of everybody trying to get something right here. And, I think we all function in that sort of spirit and everything. So what are your thoughts, man, with the unveiling and everything and, bringing it back and trying to do something with it? Just curious to hear your take, because we haven't had a chance to catch up too much. And then you were under the weather, hanging in there, lurking for the WIP last week and everything. So what's up, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I guess the last episode we released was the McFluff episode, where I was trying to guess in the dark what the hell announcement you and Show had coming up. So had literally no idea that WIP Coin was getting relaunched. Was at that WIP that y'all led. And was like, oh shit, okay, we're doing it again. Let's see what happens. That's pretty much where I'm at. It's been cool to see you and especially Show take lead on it. Got some inbound from folks yo, where's my WIP Coin? I'm like, yo, go hit up Show. We got a treasury and whatnot. You're making use of co-build, which you had on the WIP last week, which was great. Solid builder. Had been under my radar, but great crypto pedigree. And excited to see what they continue to build out with that product, which we need more of. That sort of a different lens type approach that folks can get a lot of utility out from day one. So I'm here for the experimentation. Glad that y'all resurrected it. I know it's a heavy lift to especially get the initial distribution down, and now focusing on liquidity side and then utility side to kind of pay folks in WIP Coin for doing what they're doing, starting with the WIP crew first. So makes tons of sense.
Yeah, dude, I feel like, and this is, if I'll unfluff a little bit some of the fluff that I was talking about last week, because like, Show and I were continuing to scratch at this like abstract like problem that we've been facing as the WIP for like such a long time, man, which is really like, we're like a niche, like experimental thing. And you really got to like know what's going on in order to get involved, in order to support us. And we really don't have like any very stupid, easily accessible way for people to support us. And we're just watching shit coins, go flying, and everyone's launching their personal shit coins and shit coins for their pets, that they NFTs, and, everything's got a token attached to it and everything. And it just sort of got back to like, if we're in this period of rapid experimentation, we have this pedigree, man. We've done this once before with WIP Coin and sort of learned a lot, honestly. Like I wasn't really aware of how much was learned through that first trial run until, I actually sat down with Show and started like, looking through the data and the numbers and everything. And I'm like, if we're going to do this again, the approach has to be different. The approach has to be like more 2025. And for people, if people are listening and wondering what the hell we're talking about, anyone who came to the WIP, we airdropped this token into their wallets. It already happened. And probably 95% of the people who got them don't know that it happened. And that's fine. There's not a liquidity pool set up, or there might be one that has like $40 in it or something from someone who's very friendly. But you know how this goes, right? We're like, okay, we're going to airdrop something on everybody who's like come through the WIP or spoken on the WIP. And it immediately becomes like a dump coin, and valuation goes through the floor, and then you're just sort of stuck with this coin that took a nosedive. And so we're like, that's obviously what happens every time you do something like that. So let's not do that because right? Like, what does it matter, right? We're taking a different approach here. So let's put it in people's hands and just sort of keep it out there and see what people do with it. If people do anything with it, if people catch on to it, we'll have some like call to actions during the WIP and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm like, there's so many people who came through the WIP, who have spoken on the WIP, who, if we were just had some very simple messaging, like, hey, if you want to support us, you like what we do, you want to support the community, buy a little WIP coin or add some to the liquidity pool. Everyone who comes through here every week has some. So, you're directly supporting the cause. You're directly supporting our community's bags, essentially, NFA DYOR. But, I feel like for such a long time, man, we've had this like, and we have like a donate address and everything, but, there's a little bit of like this is a little less altruistic when you're giving something to people in return in exchange for like quote unquote donating. Now you got our shit coin, right? And the hope is, man, we can mobilize the community to sort of knowing that everyone has this in their wallets and has a collective interest in it doing well, knowing that, we're a team that's not going anywhere, and we're going to continue to get behind it and everything. It's like, let's just see what fucking happens, like some very fucking simple rallying point that who fucking knows, man? Like maybe we can actually get our shit funded. Maybe we can actually get our people paid properly through some vehicle like this. Maybe we can actually buy fucking crypto voxels, right? We got until April or whenever Ben put the timeline on it to get some fucking whale in here to send this evaluation through the moon or some shit. But I'm like, there's so much can happen with this. And what's the worst fucking thing that happens? Nothing, right? We didn't tell anyone to buy into it. We didn't promise anything. We just airdropped a valueless token on a community with the hopes that it grows some legs, and Show and I and the rest of the WIP crew are not fucking stupid when it comes to this shit. We've seen experiments like this, and know how to hopefully like encourage something that is beneficial, across the board for everybody. And obviously not a rug, man. Anytime you do something like this, you get fearful of people, doing something fucking stupid and losing all their money. And, obviously we don't want that to happen. But yeah, man, in the spirit of rapid experimentation, let's see what fucking happens. And Compound just sort of came out of the woodwork. And that was fucking cool, man. I managed to get them on the WIP on the fly and everything. And I don't know, it's a Farcaster mini app that basically, if you sign up for it and you join the WIP team, which like now has a link to it, there's like 16 people on it now. And so anyone who like throws a couple bucks in there of USDC and get some interaction on their profile, a like or a recast or a follow or something, those people who are also signed up for Compound, like buy like 5 or 10 cents worth of WIP coin or whatever they had like set up. And I don't know, man, we've sent like $11 worth of WIP coin through the Compound flywheel in like microtransaction increments. And I don't know, man. It's fun. It's fun, honestly. Like it's fun to have something to play with that I'm like, almost any fucking thing. The bar is so low, right? It's a valueless token. So I'm like, anything that you can do with this that draws some positive attention, and even if it's just fucking attention to our community, is a win. And and that huge props to Show, man, for doing so much of the legwork to get this shit off the ground, because God knows I wasn't going to do it. But he knows what the fuck he's doing, and we needed that. I do too, and we all do, and that's why this works. But knowing what the fuck you're doing and taking the time and energy and patience to do the legwork to do it are, two very different things, as you and I both know, man. And we need fucking solid people to do shit like that.
100%. And now I think like what you're doing with co-build, there's a lot more initiatives we can do, especially on the liquidity provisioning front. And like, the WIP in the past has been no stranger to anonymous benefactors and patrons and some named sponsors and all that stuff. And with a coin, that's just like another surface area. It's potentially easier to gather support for, because there's a lot more tools in our toolkit that we can use to kind of incentivize sponsorship or patronage or whatever you want to call it. Just like off the top of my head, using something like Rebase, spinning up a LP incentive campaign, right? You can do that like on a specific sponsorship basis, or just like open it up to community to go in, and folks' reward will be in token, sort of like positive sum, like, hey, add liquidity here, stake that, boom, you get more native token in a long-term community project that you believe in. And then getting those larger patrons coming in and adding liquidity, as opposed to like giving us money. It's like, hey, just add it to this liquid market for this token that's powering this whole shebang. So really excited to see how that continues to evolve and play out, and continue to help sustain this near decade-long endeavor that we've been helping co-build together with the rest of the WIP crew and the WIP fam at large.
Yeah, dude. And we're in our own bucket, man, when it comes to coin categories, right? Like this isn't like really not much, if anything like this has been done before. And of course, like projects have released like coins to their community and, called them like community coins, or this is the coin for our community. But it's always like tied to speculation, tied to a particular project or NFT or something. There's a value case to be made, and this is maybe it ends up with a value case to be made, but a completely different animal and a completely different approach than a lot of what I've seen out there. And it's, I think positioning it as a slow burn and like a long play, dovetails nicely with like our community, right? Like we've been here on the grind for like many, many years. We're not going anywhere. And so, I feel like, so going back, man, Trizlet and I, with the Rizzle Fest Skunk Works, we were fucking around with for a little while there and continue to come back to, we released, a hops token on pump.fun for these like AI agents. Shout out Henry DeFrog, who is still out there like fucking talking about frog shit and hops. And we did that, man, and we dropped that token on pump.fun, and it did like $500,000 in volume in like a few hours or something like that. It was fucking stupid. And again, man, you've done this, I've done this, we've seen experiments, not specifically this, but in various capacities, seen this done like a million times. And so, we know all the people. How am I trying to say this? We know what it takes to pull off a shitty pump and dump. Sometimes those things happen by mistake, like completely. And at this point, anyone who's been around long enough has seen shitty pump and dumps a million times. And truth be told, it is a great way to get a bunch of fucking attention on your project. And a lot of times that's what people essentially use them for. It's almost like a marketing vehicle that everybody gets rugged on, but you get the attention of a lot of people and a lot of eyeballs. And sometimes, people have short attention spans out here, and you can just push right fucking through that shit. And somehow everybody forgets, and it doesn't fucking matter. So I'm saying all that to say, man, we could have done a lot of things with this token. And there's a case to be made that, sort of organizing some bullshit like that would have been beneficial to us. But I don't think it is, man. And I don't think it, and that's what Show and I kept coming back to. And what I feel like, is a good mantra for us, man, that it doesn't have to pop off immediately. Our long-term or our like bet is not to be a flash in the pan. We're terrible at that. We're terrible at making a huge splash and then like knowing what to do with it. But we are really fucking good at being consistent and knowing the smartest motherfuckers out here to continue to help us push the WIP forward, but also the whole, all of Web3, man. So much of what is built out here has come through us. You and I both know that. So I don't know, man. I appreciate you listening to my like less fluffy TED talk about all this, man. But it's a lot of what I wanted to say last week, man. But I really wanted it to be a surprise for everyone across the board. So I appreciate your patience with that.
No, man, it's been cool to watch from afar. And again, like it's heavy lift. So hats off to y'all, and especially Show for really driving the train on this one. Excited to see. But yeah, to your point earlier, Q4 is shaping up to be pretty interesting in crypto. So hopefully we get all the tailwinds behind us as we head forward with the WIP Coin experiment and everything else we got going on. So kind of excited. Like, and since it has been a couple of weeks since we've chatted, like curious, like what you're seeing, what you're feeling now, anything you're bullish, bearish on. Let's get into the market side of things.
Yeah, dude, I feel like I feel like we're at the end of the creator coin era. And usually when I say that, I'm like, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. So we're probably not. Probably someone will drop one tomorrow and it'll be like the most successful one ever. But I feel like don't get me wrong, man. I love experiments and I like the idea of rapid experimentation. And I don't think there's anything inherently like wrong with creator coins and these experiments. Although we talked about a few weeks ago, some of the potential pitfalls of people like, unknowingly creating these things. And then you got one tied to your name for fucking ever and, this and that. But I don't think, and this sort of dovetails with WIP Coin, man. And what I kept coming back to and sort of the drum that I'm banging on Farcaster as well, that I don't feel like the space, what am I trying to say? this space, Web3, broadly speaking, is so interdependent and interconnected and necessitates people working together and people's unique skill sets coming together. And, so many projects and so many of the best projects just cannot be completed in a vacuum with just like a one-man team or a couple people with like the same skill sets. You really need to like branch out. And so I'm saying all that to say, man, I feel like the hyper individualistic side of like the creator coins, I think sort of fizzles out, man. There are like certainly people and personalities out here that just knowing Web3 will garner some speculation if they got like fucking anything attached to them. Like, we know how that goes. But I feel like, we see some sort of swing back where people want to hold a piece of something. They want to feel like they're part of something. I'm thinking about Johan talking about, just meme culture and meme coins, several months ago now, but just sort of how like, sort of the mantra is, it's not much complicated beyond wanting to feel like you're part of something and connected with a community of people and everything. And I feel like we've sort of gotten away from that, like overall, with like the ability to just churn these things out. And again, I don't think that's necessarily bad, but I don't feel like inherently that's what people are looking to speculate on, or that's what people want to speculate on. And there's so many risk investments like across the board here, as we know, that I'm like, you should never put all your eggs in one basket, period, right? But you should also, I'm also like, you diversify your portfolio. And I'm like, if you're betting on one person, that's like it's a roll of the dice that I am personally not super comfortable to make in many situations. And so I think we see a swing back, man, of like some coins starting to hold some of their like long-term value a little bit more and stabilize. And I would love to manifest that with WIP Coin and everything, but I don't know. It just feels like this is where the period of like crazy speculation on like stupid shit goes wonky, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, not 100% sure. Specifically, generally though, it definitely feels like, given the macroeconomic conditions, money's going to print, which will send the stalwarts higher, which will trickle down to probably a bunch of shit coins and folks like gambling their asses off, and we'll see certain things pop, others just like dead, people poking with a stick like, why isn't my coin pumping? Generally feels like a pretty strong end of the fourth quarter. There's a few IPOs in our sector plans. We'll see how those get off the ground. We'll have an impact. And then like this week, there's on the art side of things, there's just a whole shit ton of projects coming to market that if those hit, then they will act as like further signal for more folks to come launch. And depending on how all those releases go, will have an impact on like the duration, I think, of the pump that's coming. Like at the time of the recording, 10th September, we're already sort of seeing some like speculative pumps based off of predicted forecast for like government released publications on certain macroeconomic indicators. So high level, I think it's going to be pretty fun. Fourth quarter, to your point earlier, the holidays with fam should be pretty interesting. Hopefully, it'll be one of those holiday seasons where we're looked at and people are asking us all the questions, and we're not like stuck in an attic and people are asking us how our JPEGs are going on, or like our crypto stuff still. So looking forward to that. But then again, like with that,
yes,
hopefully we see some quality folks win. Hopefully WIP Coin is part of that equation. Some of the other stuff we've been working on, tipping, etc., receive some of those positive tailwind benefits. So yeah, that's my very like high level take, at least.
Dude, can we talk about how fucking stupid Christie's is, or I can, and you can give me your well-balanced take?
Yeah, do it.
So Christie's rugged everybody, basically. TLDR. No, right. Christie's like basically phased out their entire NFT side of things, and Christie's is famous for what, brokering the Beeple sale, or like, I don't know, somehow that went through them or whatever. So it's like closing the chapter on some shit at the dumbest fucking time, right? Like, so fucking dumb. And dude, I've been a hater on Christie's and Sotheby's from jump. I feel like they're toxic to our industry, and we don't fucking need auction houses because we have decentralized ways to do this shit ourselves and shouldn't be paying them, blah, 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 blah. I've ranted about this 1,000 times. However, I'm like, dude, who the fuck is advising them? We're in a hype cycle. Like, you're a fucking auction house. This is your ability to fucking make bread in a market that's like swinging up, and you don't have to have any fucking inventory. You don't have to have any, like, you're doing nothing but shuffling JPEGs around, and they close the doors on that shit. And really, it just, in the same vein that I think it's not good for our industry, it's also not good for artists for them to just like, essentially, like, in not so many words, say that we're not recognizing this form of art anymore at our auction house. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What was that? I don't know, man. Yes. Talk to me.
Yeah. So first of all, I think the headline was bullshit. NFT Now coming out saying, what did they say? It was like shuttered or something like that. They're ending, like, the verbiage they used made it seem like Christie's is totally out of the digital art game, when that's not the case. It was a reorganization. Digital art is no longer a standalone department. It's being folded into their contemporary art division. Right.
Okay.
So I think that's
did I jump the gun a little bit? Okay.
Well, it's not your fault. Like, it was a bullshit headline, in my personal opinion, how it was communicated by other entities. So I think that's really important. Now digital art is just part of contemporary art. So digital art is art, essentially. And I think that's good personally, right? Like, why the photography doesn't have its own division is pretty much the take there. Also, the Christie's is focusing on other things, new leadership change. So, like, you get a new head honcho, they change things like this. It happens. They're focused on other things is another point. And despite Christie's doing great work on the promotion of digital art and like contextualizing their auctions and exhibitions and things like that, they, from a dollars and cents perspective, they have always been lagging behind even Sotheby's. So Sotheby's, since they started getting into the digital art side of things, I think they've generated like $150 million in receipts to Christie's $30 million. So having a standalone division for Christie's, like, really just there's no justification for that. On top of the fact that, like, putting it into contemporary art makes a lot more sense too, to streamline operations and things like that. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as it seemed initially in the timeline. Again, bullshit headline is what it is. But also, to your point, like, what were they really adding value wise, right? 30% or whatever, like the fees that they're charging, adding in hammer fees and all that, like, for what? Why? Like, we have tools, we have native marketplaces that do that for free, or just like much more understandable fees, right? You don't need them to custody anything. Like, these are JPEGs. Like, we know the deal. We know how to keep things safe, key management, et cetera, et cetera. So excited to see native project like Verse, for example, step into a void, if that's what ends up happening, that the larger auction houses open up for like native projects to come in and be like, hey, Verse has a pretty attractive secondary auction with a pretty stacked lineup that they're launching, I think, tomorrow, and will be running for like 5 or 6 days. So hopefully that goes well. And then folks understand that, hey, we have, even if the large auction houses may be, I don't know, making things, I don't know, putting more distance between themselves with their next digital art focused release, we still have tools and structures and projects and a whole ecosystem to help support that, arguably in better, more natively understandable ways. So that's my take.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that very much. I fucking fell for some rage bait. They know how to get me, man. This is
They got you.
yeah, man, this is serving it up. That yeah, exactly. Immediately makes me see red. Dude, but I'll slang up some hatred in a slightly different way though. Why do they need a division for fucking? They have the infrastructure. Dude, I don't understand this about like a lot of these types of outfits. I'm like, they already have an existing infrastructure as an auction house. Why do they need a division of people to sell JPEGs, man? Dragonate could do this shit like part-time in his footy pajamas, man. Like, he does this shit, like you're just setting up an auction, man. The rest of the shit takes care of itself. So many people out here do this every day, like multiple times a day. I don't know, man. That's just obviously there's more that goes into the back end of things and everything, but like, I don't know, man. These like bloated organizations that make a big deal out of entering and leaving and anything they do in between are, I don't know. It's hard to know like whether they're net positive or negative or just sort of falling somewhere in the middle. And I think as time goes on, I feel like for me personally, I think that it's somewhere in the middle.
Shout out Dragonate Footy Pajamas. Getting shouts out. Yeah, no. But again, Christie's why did they have a department to begin with? Like marketing promotion purposes to really let folks know that, hey, digital art's here. I think that was an important signal, at least early on, for the collectors coming from the more trad art side of things. So I think that's sort of understandable. And the people at Christie's, they did good work. They really did, for the most part. I know there's been some folks with negative experiences with them, especially earlier on, probably as they're getting their footing. But as of late, I've heard nothing but good things about the folks that worked at Christie's. The same can't be said for Sotheby's. Sotheby's has sort of been like trash for everything that they've done up until this point, just like lacking care, thoughtfulness, not doing like the table stake things they need to do to like provide proper provenance, like information about the works they're releasing, let alone like promotion of works that they're putting to market. So each outfit's different, just like every other company is different. But yeah, just a couple quick add-on thoughts to what you're saying there.
I'm so annoyed that I took the rage bait. God damn it. Always looking for a good reason to hate on Christie's. I just jumped on that one. My bad. It happens. No, dude, this is why I appreciate, and I wanted to talk to you about it, man, because I figured you tend to have a more even-keeled take when it comes to these types of entities coming into the space and everything. So I appreciate your perspective and clearing the air on that one. What else, man? We got Arthur coming up on the WIP tomorrow.
Yes, sir. He's going to be tease casting a cool project that he has coming up that has very, very strong connections to the metaverse side of things. So excited to have him through. His shit it's just iconic. Whenever I see the Arthur silhouette, like, you know it already. You know it. So to see him still doing his thing and continuing to evolve and grow the weirdness within the virtual world side of things, really excited for that. And yeah, we got cool announcements coming up from Meme. We have DCL Bay Backner coming back, the legend herself. So excited for that. But nice September slate lined up for the WIP.
Yeah.
Good things.
Oh, dude, fucking Arthur, so great. Not this past NFC Summit last year, 2 years ago or whatever it was. Dude, Arthur was on the main mixed medium stage or whatever, and I think I can't remember if he was DJing, but his like video presentation was playing, and it was like immersive, right? So you're like surrounded by all of these screens, and there was like a cube with like things on it, shit on it in the middle and everything. And dude, fucking Arthur's thing. I don't even know. I apologize to Arthur if he's listening. Call it a thing, man. But his presentation, whatever, was so fucking crazy, dude. In like the coolest way. It was like so insanely immersive, and it felt like it went on for fucking ever, because at some point, and it was incredible, but at some point I was like, Jesus Christ, the amount of time that it must have taken for him to video edit this entire thing must have been like infinity, because just chopping up some of these videos and everything, these teasers for the whip and everything, I got like a decent handle on like what goes into video editing, even on like a easy scale and everything. And I'm like, this motherfucker spent so much time on this, and dude, I'll never forget it. It was worth it because it still sticks out in my head, and every time I think of Arthur, I immediately am like transported back to this like crazy immersive experience at NFC Summit and everything. Dude is fucking legit, man. And yes, his character is iconic.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for that. I'll be on the road, but we'll be able to connect during the whip time. So excited to check in on that and see how that goes. But yeah, man,
Hell yeah.
Glad to be back. Glad to be healthy.
Good
feel
shit.
like we're set up for some big moves, and now that I got the health behind me, ready to take full advantage of that and all the sleepless nights that are inevitably coming soon to us in the space.
Hell yeah, dude.
Awesome shit.
I will see you at the whip, man.
Yes, sir. See you tomorrow. Yeah, we got. Oh, let me end this, and we can just chat logistics real quick, just to make sure we're on the same page. I always forget this. Save. Okay. Plus, we got Dragonate in his footy pajamas.
I do not wear footy pajamas.
To save us. All right, there we go. We're saved. I do not wear footy pajamas. No. Yes, you do, Drago, and you're always in a box. These are facts. These are facts.
Thank God.
No, these are my pajamas.
Cool.
All right. Good shit, y'all.
We should probably be able to get the file out, just like cut off the front and end, whatever. Drago does the cool edits and inserts that he does. Appreciate you, Drago. Cool. Drago said he's going to get it edited tonight, so we should be set up for tomorrow. Awesome. Good stuff, boys.
Good shit.
And Dragonade's mom. Catch y'all later.
All right. There you go. Peace.